I'm Alma Lee. I'm a psychotherapist and transformative lifestyle resiliency coach and author, and I want to help you reach your goals by teaching you how to step outside of those fear-based mindsets and into your powerful, loving self. Let's get started. Ooh-wee, it's been one of those weeks. Let's get it. Today's topic is choice, choosing, whatever you want to call it. You always have a choice. It always comes up. People feel so disempowered. You have a choice. And what I want to talk about is helping you to use discernment, helping you to figure out what your choices are, how to move into that, and why you should always choose yourself, my friend. That's right. You always need to choose yourself. You always need to pour into your cup. You always need to focus on your own needs. And let me explain why. Okay? This goes back into the previous episode about programming. If this feels uncomfortable to you, the concept of choosing yourself, that's a program. That's just a programmed mindset. Think about it. If you show up, you get invited to a party and you show up empty-handed, what's going to happen? People are they're going to let you in, right? They're going to probably feel sorry for you. They'll probably feed you. They'll give you something to drink and they'll pretend that everything's okay. But in reality, you're a deficit. Let's just call it like we see it, okay? You're a deficit because you didn't show up with anything to the party. You didn't bring anything to contribute. You're there to deplete resources. Ooh, yeah. I'm going to be real with you. When you show up to any situation, whether that's a partnership, any relationship, work, and you are not completely whole and ready to contribute and to pour into something fully from a space of fullness, there's always going to be a deficit. There's always going to be a deficit there. You should always choose yourself first. Now, here's what I mean by that. That does not mean, don't get it twisted, that does not mean that you're not showing up for other people, okay? What I'm saying is that you should always choose yourself first. Not that you shouldn't choose other people. You should just choose yourself first. Let's break out of the program. Let's all start collectively doing better. Let's all have some self-confidence and to stop looking at other people to fill our cups. Let's stop looking at other people to fix us. Let's stop looking at other people to see what do they have that I don't have that I could possibly take from them because I don't feel confident enough in myself to do on my own. See, a lot of people show up, especially in the client work that I do, show up at a deficit. And if you're one of my clients and you're listening to this, shout out. I just love you guys to pieces. I have the best clients. So when you show up to a relationship, to an event, to a job, and you're not complete, whole, not only will people feel sorry for you, but you're going to know, right? You're going to know that you're not completely whole in that endeavor, right? And then that's going to further magnify your sense of insecurity. I could sit here and I could go on all day about the reasons why you should show up for yourself and choose yourself first. It all spiderwebs, all of these topics, intuition, knowing how to trust yourself. You should always choose yourself first. See, here's the reasons why. Number one, when you choose yourself first, you activate the subconscious belief that you love yourself. Now, if you feel like you don't love yourself or that you don't deserve love, that's a program. You were programmed that either by society, by your culture, by your family, by your trauma, by your, in your childhood, you observed how other people were moving and you emulated those behaviors. It could be a combination of all of those things. If you believe that it's not correct to love yourself or choose yourself first, it's just a program. I will stand on that 10 toes down. That is a part of a problematic feature of the mainstream mindset to keep you stuck in a sense of lack. You're powerful. Remember that. When you choose yourself, you activate your subconscious belief that you love yourself. And you keep choosing yourself, eventually your subconscious is going to catch up. And that's actually going to take root. You know, I love myself. It's like swimming. You constantly have to swim. You constantly have to stay in motion. That's what this is. You're swimming through life. You constantly have to try. You constantly have to put forth effort. If you stop swimming, you sink. You get into that lower vibrational space. You start thinking poorly of yourself again because you start to go low. You have to constantly work on this. This is not a one-stop shop, guys. You have to constantly remind yourself. You have to constantly choose yourself in order to stay in that high vibration, in order to consistently reprogram your subconscious into that space of self-love. So here's another reason why it's important to always choose yourself. Your decisions that you make from a space of self-worth, from choosing yourself, self-love, putting yourself first, when you start to articulate decisions, okay, they start to become motivated more through self-fulfillment as opposed to gaining the external validation from others as a means of feeling whole. Do you see the loop? If you choose yourself first, then you show up and you start making decisions they're directly tied to yourself. It's not selfishness as much as it is making sure that you're staying whole in that endeavor, okay? So if you make a decision and you make that decision from a space of lack, then you might be making decisions that are intended on a subconscious level to gain the benefit of someone else's validation. You know, I can use the example of young service members that first get into the military. You know the adage, if you're military, you know how they sort of sucker punch these young kids into like a 25% interest rate on a brand new dream car that they never had before. And then maybe they end up getting partnered up in a relationship that they're a 20-something-year-old young person. They have no business being in a connected relationship like that because they don't know who they are. But they show up and they get connected because they want the benefit of the external validation. So they paid 25% interest rate on a sports car at 20 years of age as opposed to investing that money into themselves, into a future endeavor, maybe saving up to buy a house later. You see the difference? A fulfilled person, somebody who is completely whole in themselves, or at least is trying to be, and is making decisions out of a sense of self-love and choosing the self, is not going to waste their time or their money because that's where all of that deficit comes from. That's where all of that pain and that lack comes from, because then you become attached to the expectation of someone else making you feel better about yourself. That's where all that disempowerment comes from. See, this is all intended for you to regain your power. When you choose yourself, you are engaging in the mindset of action. We only have control over two things: actions and reactions. You can't control what other people do, say, think, or feel, but you can be manipulative and you can engage in behaviors that can create a picture or a facade or a veneer that is intended to lure somebody into your space. Got that shiny brand new car with the 25% interest rate. Maybe that will make me look worthy. Maybe that will make somebody interested in me because I have this car. I don't see that about myself, but if I have this car, maybe somebody else. So I'm going to toil and I'm going to throw all my money into a $700 car payment each month. And then I've got $200 left over. I don't have any money to put into savings. I don't have any money to invest in buying a home for a potential partner, but I got that shiny car. That shiny car, when I'm out driving it around, makes me look cool. It makes me feel better about myself because it covers up how I see myself. You can subvert all of this by choosing yourself. And you can stop leaning so heavily into the external validation of other people. When you choose yourself, you gain a sense of control over your life, which results in less confusion, insecurity, and chaos. Everything about your world becomes more calm when you choose yourself. You have the capacity to show up in situations full without needing someone else to participate in that. You don't need other people to approve of you. Granted, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to be chosen. It's nice for people to want to be in your space. Here's the really, really cool part about choosing yourself is that when you choose yourself and you become more confident and you become more convinced of your self-worth and your self-love, that emanates. That becomes your vibration. It's your vibratory signature. It's your energetic signature that you send out into the universe. They may not really know what they're picking up on when they're around you, but when you are fully within yourself and you know who you are and you're not leaning onto the approval of other people, your anxiety diminishes. It drops down when you walk into a space and you've already convinced yourself that you don't need these people's approval, nor do you care about the disapproval. We're always going to have haters. You're always going to have people that want to bring you down. That's fine. Let them. It's all good. When you love yourself, it doesn't matter. You show up in these environments. And the thing is, the really, really cool part, the very thing that young person who just bought the car at the 25% interest rate, the thing that person is trying to achieve through purchasing that expensive car is what happens when you choose yourself. And look how much money you save. There's no interest rate attached to choosing yourself. When you choose yourself, people look at you differently. What does he have? What does she have? She loves herself. Who the hell does she think she is? She's so arrogant. Oh my God, she's so full of herself. You know what? That's right. Let them. Who cares? At the end of the day, seriously, sit down and think about it. Who cares? Because when you really sit down and you peel it back and you look underneath it and you realize the reason that you gave a damn to begin with about what other people think about you is because you're attached to their approval. When you love yourself and choose yourself first, you don't need that anymore. It goes away. That's where your power lies. That's where all your power lies. All of that chaos. Aren't you tired of the chaos? Aren't you tired of waking up in the morning and feeling unfulfilled or wondering what's going to happen throughout your day or wondering who's going to give you approval or who's going to validate you or who's going to love you? You are. That's right. You have to stop plugging into that low vibrational energy space, and you have to start plugging into yourself. Now listen, I get it. I understand it's easier said than done, but it can be done. It can absolutely be done, but it has to be a choice. That's right. It's got to be a choice. You have to sit with yourself long enough and to say, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of going through life and feeling like I'm not enough. I'm really, really sick and tired of waiting for someone else to love me. I'm really tired of waiting for someone else to choose me. Make it make sense to me. If you're not capable of choosing you, why the hell would anybody else? And when you're not choosing yourself and you are chosen by someone else, why? Do you ever find yourself in situations with people who gravitate toward you and then come to find out they just wanted something from you? Maybe just access. Maybe they wanted money or sex. Maybe they just wanted your attention. Maybe they just wanted the gratification of knowing they could get your attention. And then after that, everything just kind of falls away because then the consistency dies off. Then they're no longer interested in love bombing you anymore. Do you have a consistent hum of those types of engagements with people? When you choose yourself, you have the ability to identify those conditions much earlier before you get enmeshed and attached and involved and get your heart broke in those situations. That's the thing about being a divorced person is that I've run into that. I ran into that this week, in fact. No shade. That's the thing. I love me. I have no room for hostility. I have no room for irritation, aggravation, anger, or resentment. In the past, I did, for sure. But where I'm at now is I can use discernment and identify when I see somebody move a certain way because I choose me first. Because of that, I don't need them to choose me. I just don't. If someone wants my attention or they want access or they want to engage with me, I pay attention to how they move in order to get my attention to begin with. And then I pay attention to the consistency of that effort. And I encourage you to do the same, my friend, both men and women. Pay attention. Because when a person is genuinely interested in connecting with you, in building with you, caring about you, creating something healthy and worthwhile that's going to grow into something else as far as, building a business or an empire together. Those are awesome, wonderful things. When it's beautiful and it's healthy and it's going through this ebb of this consistent evolution, then you can recognize how healthy it is because nothing changes. And because what happens when those efforts change, then you start to get triggered. All right, pay attention to that. When you choose yourself and you love yourself and you are engaged in a connection, whether it's a boss, a relationship partner, a potential partner, anybody for that matter, and you notice something moves differently in that engagement, pay attention to it. What's going on there? What's this person doing? Is this person lost interest? Has this person failed to communicate clearly? Has this person gotten tired? Are they, trying to manipulate? Are they trying to control the situation? Are they trying to get you to move differently? Are they trying to disrupt the homeostasis of your self-love, your self-confidence, and choosing yourself? What is it? Because when you remain unattached in those conditions, because you're choosing yourself, and then you have the ability to be clear in how you're seeing something, then you can also allow that person to be exactly who they are without judging them. See, this is all about you. This is all about you being healthy. This is all about you growing. This is all about you evolving. This is about you not allowing those external conditions to cause you to have an emotional disruption. I'm not saying that you should never get triggered or upset or anything, but I am saying that when you choose yourself, the insult and injury is far less because you have the ability to see it for what it is. And not only do you have the ability to see it for what it is, but you have the discernment to not judge them for doing what it is they need to do. Because more often than not, when you heal and you choose yourself and you love yourself and you put yourself and your own needs first, it's likely that that person's not quite where you are. And instead of having resentment towards them for them not showing up the way that they were and they're no longer being consistent in their effort, instead of being angry with that, you can be empathetic towards the fact that they've lost access to you. Different. It's different that way. It's a whole different experience when you look at it that way. You can have compassion because that person no longer interests you, because now you see that they have an enormous amount of growth. Maybe you extend an olive branch of friendship to that person. Maybe they need your friendship more than they need a partnership with you. This is what happened to me last week. It's interesting to me when you choose yourself in these conditions, when you observe that someone else, the same energy is not there anymore, and you recognize the pullback, and you get a choice. You get to choose at that point when you are in a place where you recognize that their effort no longer is at the same level that it has been. Then you get a choice. And my choice last week was to unplug and to step away and no longer participate in that engagement. It's interesting to me because when you do that, you really see a person's true colors. You see how they move. And so I think what a lot of people struggle with in choosing themselves and putting their own needs first is that the blinders have to come off. You're no longer in a space of self-delusion. You're no longer able to lie to yourself, because when you choose yourself, you're choosing honesty, you're choosing clarity. You're choosing to be forthright with yourself. And the things that you may have used in the past to get through life, such as delusions and expectations and attachments, and that dopamine you get from somebody else's validation can be addictive and hard to unplug from as well. All of that changes, and I think that the thing that causes people a lot of hesitation in engaging in this is the lack of belief that they can. You can. It's just, I think we all know subconsciously and intuitively that when we move differently, when we say, I'm not putting up with that anymore, I'm going to put my own needs first, that there's judgment that comes with that. And nobody wants to deal with that because we're attached to their validations. But you just kind of have to cut it off, because if you're tired of living in chaos, if you're tired of allowing other people to have dominion over your emotional regulation, if you're tired of wondering when you're going to be loved, is a big one. You just have to stop and do it yourself, because we teach people how to treat us by what we tolerate and by what we don't. And it's not easy, guys. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that this is so easy and everybody can do it. Well, I do believe everybody can do it, and it is simple, but I agree, it's not easy, but it is worth it, and it does shift everything about your life, and it does help you regain your resolve, or gain your resolve if you've never had it, in a space of abject clarity on how you situate your life, especially set yourself up for the future and the future conditions in which you choose to live. Because a big part of that too, in the fear of the judgment of other people, is being judged by other people can feel a lot like a trigger, or it is triggering, because we're programmed. It has to start somewhere, and I suggest that you choose to start loving yourself. You choose to put yourself first, and a lot of times when I have this conversation with my clients, it's like, well, it feels like a lie. You do like your affirmations. You're like, I am confident. I love me. I choose me. Those types of affirmations. I've had clients say, well, it feels like I'm lying to myself because I don't really believe it. So what I suggest, and many of you listening right now probably know what I'm getting ready to say, is think of it like you're going into a store and you're going to try on a new outfit. You're there with a friend, right? And your friend says, hey, I think this would look great on you. And you're like, I don't think so. And your friend says, just try it on. Just give it a go. That's what these affirmations are. When you choose yourself, when you actively choose yourself, it is much like trying on an outfit that you would have never picked, but that your friend thinks would look great on you. Me being that friend, I'm recommending that you try on choosing yourself. Just look in the mirror. See how it feels. I love me. I choose me. The journaling piece of it all can help you disentangle from some of those abject external judgments, because more often than not, the judgments that we feel in these endeavors usually comes from the people that are closest to us, and that's the most hurtful ones. Close friends, partners, parents, children even. Why are you acting like this? Why are you being so selfish? Why are you being so arrogant? Well, granted, they're programmed too, and it looks on the outside without any, sort of understanding about what this whole process is about. It can look very negative because of their program. And so they may feel inclined to tell you that you're wrong for doing what you're doing. It's a program, man. It's a program. We're all in it. Some of us get to break free. I hope that you get to break free. I hope that you find it within yourself that you're just sick and tired of waiting for other people to choose you, and that you take this opportunity to sit down with your journal, write down some positive affirmations, even if you don't believe them. I am confident. I love me. I love my body. I love the fact that I have $7.15 in my bank account. I love the fact that I am able to buy $7 worth of whatever. You have to start somewhere. It all starts with a positive mindset. You've got to stop allowing the periphery of what you don't have and what you're afraid of to constantly seep into your subconscious. That stops. You choose to stop that by choosing yourself. You choose to move more fully without the distractions of the negativity that you've been enmeshed and immersed in your whole life. You choose to put your needs ahead of the needs of other people initially, when you have a need, that is. When you show up with a full cup, you show up ready to rock. You show up ready to give. You show up ready as a loyal partner and friend. You show up because when you show up fully loving yourself, you are showing up to the party with a couple of plates of food, platters of food that you've made, and you're ready to share. You're ready to give. You're ready to contribute. You show up fully present because you're not showing up depleted. You're not showing up expecting other people to give you something that you haven't already given yourself. And yes, your relationships will evolve. They may fall away, and it's okay. It's okay. Nothing's permanent in this life anyway. None of us are getting out of here alive, in case you haven't thought about it. It's important that you enjoy your life to the fullest, and not only enjoy your life, but through this self-love journey of choosing yourself, you will have the clarity and the discernment to identify what your purpose is, what your powerful purpose is, because you're not here in the meat suit, the 3D meat suit, for no reason. See, that's the thing. You got to break free of the program. You got to get out of it. You've got to choose yourself. You've got to show up full. You got to show up whole. See, when you show up, you're ready to connect. You are ready to have a healthy connection with other people. You're not depleted. You're not expecting other people to pour into you. That's the purpose. You see where it makes sense now? It's not selfish being selfish. It's not selfish saying, I need some time alone. I need to leave this job. This job is killing me. This job is so crushing me. I need to pull away from this partnership because it's not healthy for me. I'm being drained. I'm being gaslit. I'm being told that I'm obnoxious. Maybe you are obnoxious, but you don't need to be in a partnership where somebody is telling you the negatives about yourself as opposed to encouraging you to grow. See, that's the difference. That's the difference. When you're in a partnership with someone who says, you're obnoxious. I don't think you're obnoxious, but other people may think you're obnoxious. That person is trying to get you to break you down into a space that they can control you better versus saying, I guess I can see where other people might think you're obnoxious, but I don't. I think you're awesome. I think you're effervescent. I think you're beautiful. I think you're wonderful. I'm not really concerned about what other people think about you. I can see where other people might say that, I suppose, but that's not how I see you. Do you see the difference? You see the difference in how a partner should talk to you and should connect with you? Pay attention to the signs. When you choose yourself, those signs are glaringly obvious, to the point where it's like a neon sign where you are going to betray yourself if you don't pay attention to it. You show up full, you show up whole, you show up ready to pour into whatever it is, a relationship, a job, your purpose, your relationship with your children. Choose yourself. You deserve it. You deserve to love yourself. Lastly, in closing, I'll let you know this too, is that when you choose yourself, and you're calm and you get out of that chaos, you have the power to allow other people to be exactly who they are. And you don't get triggered, and you don't get triggered as often. And you don't have the hostility or the anger or the resentment that bubbles up because they're not behaving the way you want them to behave, because you're healthy. Usually when you're in those situations with people where they're not showing up the way that you want them to, it's usually because you're attached to them, because you need their validation, because you're not loving yourself. Love yourself. Allow people to have their opinions of you. Trust and have confidence in where you're heading. Pay attention. Slow down. Get out the journal. I'm going to tell you to meditate, but get out the journal. Write down all of your goals, your dreams, your desires. Get focused. Pick yourself first. Make sure your needs are taken care of first. Allow other people to be exactly who they are. You can observe their behaviors and determine whether or not you want to participate without that attachment. This is the clarity that you're seeking. This is what you need to do. It starts with you. It starts with a determined mindset of sitting with yourself and saying, I'm tired. I'm tired of this game. I'm tired of waking up every morning and feeling like I'm less than. I'm tired of feeling like I've got to wait for a phone call from somebody. I'm tired of waiting for that text from that person. I'm tired of waiting to get that job offer. I'm tired. Get tired. And then choose yourself. Get your power back. I promise you, you're always going to be waiting on a phone call, but you don't always have to wait for somebody else to choose you. When all you have to do is choose yourself. All right. From Fear to Love. This has been an LBM production. Please like, subscribe, and share this show. Thanks for listening.